Sometimes I get the urge to play a champ that picks your teammates up by the scruff of their neck and solves their daddy issues. A champ that no matter what happens, you will be the first person walking into a deadly situation and the last person out. For me, that champ is BRAUM. Today, we're doing 12 actually useful tips and tricks for BRAUM support, one of my favorite champions in League, believe it or not, and also one of my most played champions competitively. Brings back memories, doesn't it? By the end of this video, you're going to be the best BRAUM on the block, and you'll also learn a trick or two to impress your team who thought BRAUM was a simple champion. And if you got something new from this video, leave a like down below and also comment to let me know what the next champ you want is. Starting off really nice and simple, W can be used on minions and pets, and it'll place you in between the ally that you click on and the closest enemy to them. Couple points on that. This can be used to actually extend the distance of his dash if there's an enemy on the other side of your ally and you max range cast it. And also, just remember, if you get interrupted in the middle of the dash, you will not actually get the bonus resistances from your W. Number 2, E gives move speed, so it can be really useful when chasing. It also allows you to move through units, so you can use it to avoid creep wall. Also, did you guys know that your E can actually block projectiles even if you stopwatch? So you'll most likely be taking Guardian on BRAUM, as it's kind of the only useful keystone. So listen up, because this is very important. Guardian used to be Garbanzo with BRAUM E, because it basically worked on how much damage you would have taken. So basically you would use E, you would block some damage, but Guardian would still proc, which as you might expect is a bit shite. But as of 10.12, BRAUM's Guardian actually procs post mitigation damage. So you can use your E to block something, and then only the damage that would pass through your E damage reduction will actually proc your Guardian. It's actually very important to keep that in mind, because you don't want to be losing your giant cooldowns of Guardian and also your pretty large cooldown of E together at the same time. It's not very good use of overlapping damage reduction. So for this point, I want you all to understand that BRAUM can actually have some relatively intricate and interesting ways of casting his abilities. The simplest way to see BRAUM as is you jump to someone with your W and then you cast abilities, right? That's what that looks like. It's kind of slow, it's kind of, tedious, and also it's really easy for the enemy team to dodge your stuff because they can see you casting it. However, there's a way around this, and the way professional BRAUMs play is that they use his WE, the little combo, to cancel the cast time. So if you're in the middle of jumping to someone and you cast your E while you're flying, if you cast your ult or your Q, you'll actually cancel the cast time completely, and it's a much faster animation. You can catch people out very, very easily with this. And if you combine it with another trick I'm about to tell you, yeah, it can be pretty powerful. Another animation cancel you can do on BRAUM is you can actually cancel your Q or your W animation in your R animation. So if you cast your R and your Q, you'll actually reduce the cast time of your Q very slightly and make it a little bit harder for the enemy team to see that you're casting your Q. So if you take the last tip and you use it well, you should know that BRAUM R can actually interrupt dashing. So if you time BRAUM R correctly, it's actually scary how powerful he can be in the right hands. Best example, and also not too hard to do, is to interrupt Jarvan's EQ combo with your ultimate. If you wait until Jarvan is just about to start sliding, you can actually stop him dead in his tracks. This also works with stuff like Jack's jump, Camille's dash, Tristana's jump, Rel's W, Alistar W. You get the idea. It's actually pretty cool. Next up, your E actually works on tons of abilities you might not think about, such as Lux's Final Spark, and on abilities like Brand's Pillar of Flame and Karthus Q, but only if the center of those abilities is in front of your shield. So this is useful because things like Zilean Bomb are actually not blockable if they hit you. That's part of the reason why Zilean is so annoying in lane. And as a bonus point for this one, you'll actually get an assist if an enemy is killed after blocking a projectile with your shield. Also, a really simple point, but extremely useful, you can actually cast W on yourself to give yourself bonus magic resist and armor. This can be really useful if you're running away from something, or if you think that actually you don't need the mobility from your W, you just need the resist on yourself if you're frontlining. Now, I'm sure you all know this, but you can actually hop over walls using BRAUM W. I know everybody knows this. It's really useful, especially for getting out of Baron and Dragon Pit, but keep it in mind. So it's important to note that your E has 100% damage reduction on the first ability hit. I'm sure everybody knows that, but did you know that if you get hit by multiple abilities in the exact same moment and your E damage reduction is up, you can actually get 100% damage reduction on multiple abilities at the same time? Pretty cool, actually. So one of the most important core combos on BRAUM is a really simple engage combo, and it's Q flash. So you start channeling your Q and then you redirect where your Q is going to go with your flash. Very important and also super useful when you're engaging or things like your jungler's ganking for you and you need to land your Q for the gank to succeed. So now a couple general tips on BRAUM, just nice easy ways to get you into the champion and understand how it is you're going to carry games on him. Firstly, BRAUM's early poke rivals a lot of ranged champions. The way you want to play him is not like a bruiser engage champion in lane, but rather like a poke champ. If you can consistently hit Qs in lane, taking brush control and using your Q whenever the enemy AD carry walks up to farm is a very, very powerful way of turning turning BRAUM into a lane bully champion. And a second point that I think a lot of BRAUMs should keep in mind is, unless you're confident you can win the fight immediately, your E should be used exactly like a Yasuo wind wall. So saving it for the most impactful ability that the enemies have in a team fight. A really good example would be BRAUMs using their E to block a really big ultimate ability like Ornn's ultimate. I'm sure you've seen footage of BRAUMs Eing backwards to stop the Ornn ultimate from reaching Ornn. It's actually very important to understand that you have to E backwards for that. However, there's other examples. Things like Jinx R could also be really important for you to block. Just keep in mind, you block the damage reduction for yourself, but you will not block the AoE explosion. But you shouldn't limit yourself only to ultimate abilities. If you can block something like Lissandra E to prevent her from getting on your backline, or a Nidalee Spear so that she can't burst someone down with her combo, that can completely shut down certain enemy champions in fights. That's why I love BRAUM so much. It's not just his majestic mustache, but he really rewards knowledge of what spells the enemies have. That's all I have for you in this video. If you enjoyed it, leave a like and let me know in the comments which champions you guys would like to see in this series. Otherwise, have a good one and I will see you on the road.